Hello, Hatboro Horsham. This is the follow-up, the mated video to how we use these numbering system: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. How we use that for helping with seeing how to form chords in different progressions. Once you leave the precious space up here, the first three frets. How does everything? How do you know like where chords would be? Well, the most useful is the fourth and the fifth, because that's where you get this type of. That's the first, fourth, fifth, fourth. 1, 4, 5, 4. I'm just playing that little progression just to demonstrate. The fourth chord is, this is A, B, C sharp, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fourth chord in an A major song would be a D chord. The D chord that you know and love up here. There's an A chord up here. We're just playing this A chord down here. Every note from the first video in that chord is either an A, a C sharp, or an E. That's how to make the chord. Now, how do you use these in chord progressions and helping you like determine which chord would sound good in a rock sort of sound like the right chord in so many rock songs? That you have an A, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a D, and this D is made like this. I'll get into this in a second. And then an E chord, and here's the 1, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's string 5, fret 5. And string 5, fret 7 is the 5 note in the scale. Happens to be an E. A, B, C sharp, D, E. So E is the fifth chord, and that would be this progression: the A, D, E, D, A, D, E, D, however you want to play it. Now, what's very important in this is that for every note on string 6 and every note on string 5, when you build the chord, which is the first, the third, and the fifth, when you build that chord, you end up with two movable shapes. One is this E shape, the other is a G shape on string 6. String 6, if we build a chord with this E shape down here, I bar string or fret 5, and then I put this E shape behind it, and I have an A chord. If I replicate this shape anywhere along here, it becomes a chord that's named after the note on string 6. If I build that same shape at, for instance, at fret 8, that's a C chord, because this is a C note. And I hope you're seeing now the absolute importance of knowing string 6 cold, what the notes are. It's memorizing 12 things. Right? It's not really that overwhelming. Fret 3 is, there's a dot. That's a G. Fret 5 is an A. Fret with a dot. Fret 7 has a dot. That's a B. Fret 9 has a dot. That's a C sharp. That's the only one that's a little off. And string, or excuse me, fret 12. That's the repeat. That's back to E, whatever the open note is here. They're an octave apart. So I have one shape moving, let's say this way, down the guitar. I can build this chord, this movable chord, by taking this E shape. I have an A chord. If I move this G chord this bar up here is doing the work of my fingers. I don't have to do this because the string ends there. So I have the advantage of having open strings here with this G. But if I take that G chord and move it down, and you don't worry, you won't have to make this chord. It's you would never use this at speed. And I'm taking that G shape here, and I now have an A chord because I've moved it. I've moved from G to a G sharp to an A. So I have this way I have an A chord, and this way I have an A chord by putting this G shape, and I'm going to do it now logically. The way you will see this is the bar strings 1, 2, 3, and 4, deaden string 1, but just make a half bar on the first 4 strings, and don't play string 1 because that makes it a sixth, unless you want to play a sixth. So then you have this chord determined by this note, which is an A. That's an A major chord right there. Here's an A major chord. That's an A major chord. Both built from this. That's what you want to do. Both built from this. I have a G shape attached to this. G shape chord. That's a G shape. Move that G shape chord to wherever I want to go. If I move it down here, that would be a C note I have at fret 8. I now have a C chord, or I have a C chord this way. Excuse me. I have a C chord there, I have a C chord this way, either direction. 2 notes, or 2 chords built from an E shape and from a G shape to make that more illustrative for you. There's a G shape, you can see the G chord here. So I have A, and then come up here to a G shape. You can use both of those. They're really important, and next week I'll make clear what I didn't get a chance to get into this week. This is, that's an A major pentatonic scale played with this as an A major pentatonic scale. Going this way, we play the same scale that I play here. Listen. You can hear they're the same notes. So, 2 chords made from string 6, based on string 6, with an E shape, move to wherever, and with a G shape, move to whatever the note is on string 6, and it then makes this an A chord. Do the same thing on string 5. You build 2 chords with, first of all, the A shape, right here. Here's a D note, for instance, A, string 5 open, A sharp B, C sharp D. Here's a D note. I use this as my bass note. Put an A shape, that's right here, three consecutive, the 3 consecutive strings at the same fret, and I have a D chord. I do the same thing down here to the A, or excuse me, the A at fret, the A string at fret 7. I have an E note, which is, there's my first 1, 4, 5. If I want to come down to string to the key of C and play 1, 4, 5, it's 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. Very same as up here. G, 1, 4, 5. That's really important to know that you always have below this 6th string, you always have on the 5th string the 4th, and then the 5th of that key, whatever chord that you're playing. You have the 4th of that key and the 5th of that key on string 5, right below the key note, the root note, is the 4th, and 2 down is the 5th. So that's what I want you to know, and if you have questions or get confused, please get in touch with me, and we'll review it, and understand that. Right? But right now, it's useful. Just to recap on chord formation, which is first, the third, and the fifth. That's, I'm just playing the three notes that comprise a major chord, the first, the third, and the fifth. And you can use that in bass. That's kind of like the basis for most bass playing. And you can use it for chord progressions. The 1-4-5 progression, with here's this E formation, followed by the D formation and an E formation. I did neglect, I just realized, showing you the other chord that you can make going up this way. You can take a C shape, and this is a D note right here where my pinky is, and then I come right down just as though I were making a C chord with my ring finger on string 4, fret 4, and then I get the D note at string 2, fret 1, and then just bar the strings 1 and 3 particularly. And I have a C chord, so I could play that progression, the A to a D, to an A, to an E. I just moved this formation down to the E. I wouldn't concentrate a whole lot on that, except as kind of a stretch exercise for you right now, a literal stretch exercise. You'll have a tough time making that note, that chord, that C chord. You'll have a tough time barring that. The most logical choice for the 1-4-5 is this chord, the E-shaped chord, the A-shaped chord, the A-shaped chord for the E and the G, the 4, E, the D, and the 5, the E. So there you go. That's what we did. And I'm going to make one more video and just talk about some of the devices that we used that you can use for second guitars. That gives you an insight into both what you can do with the chord formation that you're making, and what you can do with pulling out chunks of this scale to add little what are called riffs to a song. So I'll see you at the next video.